Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for another episode of Leading on Mondays. My name is Florin, and I'm so delighted to be with you today. And today, I'm joined, as usual, by my teaching partner, Madalina. Welcome, Madalina.
Welcome, Florin. I'm so happy to be here with you today again to discuss on our next episode of Self Leadership series. And today we are going to talk about the problem solving as a way to gain influence for anybody, not only for leaders. So, Florin, if you're ready, I would like to go with my first question to you.
Absolutely. Shoot.
Why do you think it's important for leaders to know about problem solving issues?
Yeah, I think as leaders, if you think about the role of a leader, probably the one of the biggest role that the leader has is that when we have a problem that cannot be solved at the level of our team, that gets escalated to the leader's desk, right? So as leaders, we
Usually,
actually
yes.
get to deal with the most challenging problems in our organization, right? Because if it was easy, it would have been solved, at another level. So when you think about problem solving, this is one of our, you know, critical skills as leaders. And so when I'm looking at problem solving, I'm looking at a way for me to bring results for my team, right? So as leaders,
Mhm.
it's not that we can escape problem solving. We have to solve problem. That's why we're paid as leaders. Most of the time when things are running smoothly, you don't even need a leader. But
Yep.
when things are actually when the yogurt hits the fan, that's when you need a leader. So so for me, problem solving one of those skills that leaders really need to master. It's impossible for you not to deal with problems. As I said, the bigger the problem, the fastest will escalate to your desk.
Yes, and what I noticed is that for leaders, the plate with problems is always full. A leader always
Absolutely.
has at least one problem to solve on their plate. So, if you are a leader and you want to get rid of this problem solving and you don't want to hear about problems anymore, well, guess what? It will be in your life forever. So you will have forever problems to solve. But the difference is what I can add to what you said, Florin, for
Right.
leaders, for anybody actually, because we are a human being, we will encounter problems sooner or later, and I'm pretty sure that most of our time until the end of times we will encounter problems. And the difference is that it's not like we don't want problems. I just want to get rid of problems. This is a bad mindset, because even if you want it, or if it or like it, if you don't like it and try to avoid problems, they will be there, they will appear in your life. So the best mindset in this situation is, okay, I'm living the life. Problems might appear in my life, and I might find one problem in next 5 minutes to come to me. How can I solve the problem? This is the correct mindset, because problem will be there most of the time, most of your life. You have, even if you are a kid, even if you are a mother, even if you are a CEO, even if you are a friend to somebody, you will encounter problems in your life because you're a human being. It's in your nature. So the right mindset, once again, is to remember that when you have a problem in front of you, don't be desperate. Okay, oh, again another problem. No, think about how can you solve the problem. And from my experience, and this is something that it really make me switch my mindset.
Mhm.
I was the kind of person who I wanted to solve everybody's problem. So I wanted to, okay, I need to solve my friend's problem. I need to solve my mother's problem. I need to solve my colleague problem. I need to solve my problem. And guess what? I couldn't solve the problems of everybody. And what I actually found out, and this was like a big, big, important breakthrough for me, it was, when you think about problem solving, it's not only a one person's job. You might have some situations where you can only you or only one person can solve the issue, but there might be other situation. And the second category is that when you need other people together as a group to solve the issue. So this is really important for everybody to understand. It might be a one person problem to solve, or it might be a problem for a group to solve. Just remember that, and especially get help as much as you can to be able to solve the issue. So
Abs-
Florin, I'm going
Absolutely.
to the
Yeah,
next to
let me
the
just
next.
touch on that, because let me build
Okay,
on that a little bit, because you made such a
sure.
really important point there. As leaders, our job is not to solve the problems, right? Our job is not to solve the problems. They might land on our desk, but it doesn't mean that we should solve them. And
Yes.
this is the mindset. Like, if you are a leader, because I know you were asking, okay, Flori, if you're a leader now, what do
Yeah.
you need to do about problem solving? This is the answer, right? Now, if you're a leader, the first thing you have to do about problem solving is to have the right mindset. And the question you should ask yourself when a problem lands on your desk is not, what can I do about this? But the question is, who can I solicit to help me on this?
Hmm.
Right? Because as a leader, you have the big picture. You see who has what kind of skills and expertise. And our role is not to solve the problem by ourselves and to take ownership of it and they say, oh, this is my problem, and now, trying to solve it by ourselves. Is to see, okay, can I put a group of people together? Like, what kind of competencies, what kind of skills, what kind of mindsets do I need to solve this problem? And you are the one who connects those dots and connects those people, and maybe create a task force, maybe create a all hands on deck meeting or something like that, where you enlist people to help you solve it. So I think for leaders, that's the biggest mindset shift that we have to make when it comes to problem solving. Instead of asking ourselves, what can I do about it? The question is, who can I solicit? Who can I enlist to help me on this?
Yes, and you actually, your intuition was right. This is what I was going to ask you. How can a leader make sure? How can a leader deal with problem solving? So it's important for us to remember what you said, Flori.
Absolutely. But someone which is not the leader, for example, someone which maybe
Yeah,
say, well, okay, I like your shows now, Madalina and Florin, but I'm not the leader. So why is this important to me? What would you say to them?
it's a fashion. Oh, sorry. Uh, if you are not in an official leadership position, then what you can do is, as you already mentioned, you can contribute to the solving. So in this situation, what I would suggest you, if you're not in a leadership position, find out around you some issues. And when I say issues and I didn't say problems, is because of this. My people will see the same situation as a problem, some other won't see it as a problem. So the word I chose is the issue. So find out issues around you that might be solved, or that you can contribute to. For example, I think I had one example. Well, it was something that I actually failed as a influence of leadership in this one. In my company, um, we had the policy to be friendly with the environment friendly. And before this policy, we had tissues, paper tissues in the bathroom for women also. And after this policy, we didn't have that anymore, because we had to save paper, we have to save trees, and because of that, we didn't have the paper issues anymore, tissues anymore, but we had the ventilators with hot air. In my experience, and other colleagues, the same thing happened. We all said that, okay, we don't want to dry our hands in the ventilator, because it's actually causing more bacteria, and it's unsanitary. So we actually and also made our hands dry, and yeah, we need to wear a lot of hand cream on us. So for us, it was a situation that we were not okay with. But because the policy was like that, and what I did was, I talked to everybody that I could, anybody that I could talk about this issue. I said, okay, this is the situation. This is what happened to us. What can we do about it? Can we do anything about it? So I talked to the cleaning lady. I talked to the facility manager. No, to a facility colleague, then to a facility manager, and I got with this chain to a place where I had the policy in front of me. So this is the policy. This is for everybody. It's not anything I can do about it. So we need to implement this, and this is already implemented, and we cannot make it different than it is. But for me, what I do now, instead of just going to dry my hand in the ventilator, I just pick up some toilet paper to dry my hands. So it's not I'm doing something for myself. I didn't change the policy. I didn't let's say okay, I'm okay with the policy. Let's leave it like that. But at least I try to find an issue in front of my eyes and try to do something about it. So in any person who wants to become a leader, who is an aspiring leader at the moment, if they want to gain influence, because this is what we are talking about, solve as many issues as you can that other people see as a problem. Maybe also is for you a problem. Try to find out, and maybe if you cannot solve it by yourself, because it's not a one person problem, but at least contribute to the solving, or at least get other people to be part of the solving problem, to the problem solving. So this would be my advice to people who are aspiring leaders.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, uh, in other words, don't be passive to the issues or the problems that you see, right? Take a little bit of ownership. I know maybe that was not your job, and then it required energy for you to do it, but you, by doing it and providing results for your team and for your manager, that will allow you then they will bring you other opportunities, right? To solve problems. So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
Absolutely, and also it's wise to think about what kind of problems we want to solve, right? We don't want to. Okay, it was a great example, but
Mm-hmm.
someone will say, well, that was not your job. Well, why would you want to go there? Okay, so let's take that example and apply it to another area. Okay, choose your problems you want to work with,
Yeah,
right? Choose
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
problem,
yeah.
but the principle is still valid, right? Take a problem, take an issue, take what happened for me. So when I started in my leadership career, I became the team leader of the team that I was part of. So there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
challenges that come with that, because one day I was part of the team, the next day I'm their manager, and I wanted them to do some things, and we needed to report some things, and they will come back and say, okay, Florin, don't play the boss with us. You know how things work here, right? You were one of us before, and
Yeah.
and and I didn't have any influence with them. So a way for me to gain influence was to kind of, because I was part of the team, just before I got promoted, I kind of knew the issues. I know what were those demotivational factors. Like you
Mm-hmm.
shared, that was a demotivational factor for your team and for people in that facility, right? So you took one of those demotivational factors and you wanted to do something about it. And I've done exactly the same. So the things that
Mm-hmm.
my team
Mm-hmm.
was complaining about, the things that my team wanted solved, I took those things and I took them up to my manager and my manager, and things
Mm-hmm.
started to move, right? Because now I was an advocate for my team, and that brought me influence. That positioned me in a way that I brought results for my team. And that's one of the things that we could do, like when you were a new leader in a new position, then the best thing you could do is to bring some results, right? So the team sees, oh, okay, so you know okay, he might be young, but he seems to do some stuff here, right? So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
allows us to gain influence, and then we get more opportunities to solve bigger problems, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it doesn't matter if you're a leader or not. The principle is the same, right? Identify something that is a demotivational factor, or something that your team is complaining about, or something that you feel it's important for your team in your organization, and then take ownership of that. And ideally should be outside of your, well, you should definitely take care of the problems that are in your area of competence, in your area of
Yeah.
responsibility. But if it's also outside, it's even more important, right? So that is
It's like
how I applied the
expanding.
similar principle, and it helped me.
It's more like expanding your influence by solving issues outside. Well, after you deal with the important issues in your court. And this brings me to another important aspect that I just realized, and I really want to share this with you. As an aspiring leader, you get to choose what problems you want to solve. As a leader, once you are a leader, you cannot. You cannot choose. Problems just come to you and you need to deal with them. And of course, there are some problems that you need to take care of right that moment. But you can also, as you said, Florin, you can also make sure that you go outside of your comfort zone and solve something outside, like expanding your circle of influence. So it's very important for people to have this image in front of their eyes. And for a leader, if they are not that good at the moment on solving problems, what is the strategy for them? What would you advise them, Florin, to actually start developing the problem issue quality,
Absolutely.
problem
So
solving quality?
sure. The first thing I will remind them is to think about that mindset, right? So as a leader, you should not solve the problem by yourself. It's more about empowering your team to solve the problems, right? And you being part of the process. And if everything goes well in an organization, problems are solved at the lowest level in the organization. So in other words, if a small problem actually it's escalated, you know, throughout the levels of the organization, that's a sign of an unhealthy environment, an unhealthy culture, right? Because some small problems should not land on the desk of the leader, right? So first of all,
Mm-hmm.
think about you should not solve problems yourself, like all of them, but you should empower people. But when as whether you're a leader or not, here is a kind of a process that has helped me. I call this to be problem solving from the inside out. Like, using our past experiences and looking at the problem, from our perspective, and finding kind of answers inside. So one thing would be first thing is to write the problem down. Now, in other words, define the problem with as many details as possible, right? One of the problems we had, I remember in my early career, was that we didn't have the proper equipment for our testing, right? So that was one of the problems. And if I would just go to my leader with the problem, okay, we don't have the right equipment, uh, you know they will challenge me. What do you mean by that? In which situation, for which kind of test? So I needed to spend a lot of time into defining, what it is. Like, we don't have this piece of equipment for this kind of test, and this is the risk, or this is an opportunity, right? So I need to
Mm-hmm.
get a lot more clarity on what the problem is, because many times we treat symptoms of the problem and not the core problem. So number one is to
Mm-hmm.
gain clarity, and for me, it helps me to put it down on paper, with pen and paper, not with typing on a computer. That's for me, right? The second one is to look at our past experiences. Like, when I've solved problem like this, what strategies did I use? I often had team members coming to me and asking, Florin, I'm stuck. I applied this procedure, it doesn't work. And many times we were like, okay, I understand you do this in this situation, but this is not very, very different than what we've done 2 months ago. And I ask, okay, how did we solve it 2 months ago? So we realized that we solved very similar problems. And chances are
Mm-hmm.
that we have solved very similar problems in the past. So if we are able to go back and say, okay, so how did I do it? Like, who did I ask help from last time, right? What kind of tools did we use? What kind of resources? Was it someone that helped us, gain clarity? So that helps us to look at past experiences, because so many times we believe that, oh, this is the biggest problem we ever had, and this is so new, we never done this. Chances are we've done something similar in the past, but we maybe forgot, or we have not made the connection. So that would be number two. And then number three would be I think this helps me a lot because I'm a visual thinker, is to actually write down and create a picture of how the problem looks solved. Like, in other words, like, okay,
Yeah,
so this is the situation right now. For example, in your case, we don't have the paper tissues anymore to, dry our hands. Okay, so what would the problem solved look like? Well, okay, so we would have a way to dry our hands which doesn't dry the skin or something,
yeah.
that, right? So you actually define the picture of perfection. Like, what would the ideal case be without this problem? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes just seeing that picture, it allows us to choose what are the best solutions for that picture. Many times we get, dragged into some of the problem solving kind of methodologies, like, the 5 S's, or the fishbone diagrams, and we get through some maybe solutions that are not ideal because we don't have a clear picture of what it is that we want to
Yeah.
achieve. Like, how does it look when it's solved, right? And then it's more about, the first step will be more about trusting ourselves to kind of be able to find those solutions, or to be able to find those people that could help, in our problem solve. Because if we don't trust ourselves, then how can we solve the problem, right? How can we solve it? We let that problem become much bigger than it is, right? We
Yeah.
tend to expand it, but it's mostly in our mind, because we don't trust ourselves, and we don't believe that we're good at it, because maybe we don't believe that we solved similar problems in the past.
Wow. So you had a very important 4 steps, powerful steps. I don't see anything to add here, because you already mentioned what I was thinking as a strategy for problem
Hmm.
solving. The only thing that I can add to this one is talk to more people, because in this situation, and I'm pretty sure you already mentioned it in write the problem. Also, with your own mind, you can do that, but I would also suggest in some many like a group problem solving situation, involve others, because then it will be your perspective with the others' perspectives, and they will
Absolutely.
bring up new dimensions of the problem that you might not think about on your own. And as you mentioned, very important, I really, this is my philosophy, I really try my best to keep this promise as a personal philosophy. When a problem comes, think about a solution. Don't try to point out who did that, why it was did that, you are to blame, and things like that. Because in the case of a fire, which it's a very urgent problem, it really asks for our attention. You don't put pause and say who started the fire, why did the fire start it, uh, what do we need how is the problem solved. No, in that situation, in some situations where the problem is very urgent, you don't have time to think about all these situations, and you need to take the leader, like the leader position, in a very powerful and demanding way. This is what I learned in a training that I did this weekend. You don't have space to say, look, can I ask you very very politely to set out the fire, please? Look, there's a building burning, and we need to take care of this, please. No, it's like, no, you go and get water. You call the ambulance. You call the fire truck. You make sure that if there is anybody left in the building, who can we talk to. So you need to point fingers and assign people to make sure that the most important things in the situation to be solved are assigned to key people. So not all the steps, important steps solve the problem solving, are assigned to specific people, and then nothing is left outside. And in this part, you are not like a polite person, you need to be demanding,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because it's a real life threatening situation in that case. So
Absolutely.
yeah, this is also a person, like a personal story I wanted to share with you with this case. You
Sure.
think about as a leader also in some life threatening situations.
Sure. The consequences of the problem define actually what the action plan is, right? And
Yeah.
some problems need to be solved now, or yesterday, but now, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
and that required action. So of course, as a leader, or anyone who actually faces this kind of situation, it's very important for them to make the assessment, like, what do
yeah.
we need to do now, and then we're going to do the analysis how the
Yeah,
problem,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Definitely.
um,
Afterwards, the analysis
yeah,
might be there. Yeah. Otherwise,
absolutely.
you might repeat the same situation over and over again, and you waste time to solve it over and over again if you don't analyze what happened there. So yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's
this was really good. One last thought I had for us. I think it's to also, it's a good reminder. Actually, you mentioned that as individuals, whether you're a child, a mother, a leader, whomever you are, we're gonna meet with problems, right? And I think sometimes we have this expectation life should be easy, right? And I used to ask myself when I was, a younger version of myself, I asked myself, why is this happening to me? Why are all these problems happening to me? And
oh my.
one of my mentors actually shared, it says that the content of our lives is the curriculum of our evolution. In other words, the problems that I face in my life are kind of the curriculum, are the material that I have to go through to become who I need to become.
Oh, that's deep.
So when we look at problems, don't curse the problems. They are there with a reason. Maybe you don't see the reason right now. Maybe they come with a loss, financial loss, family loss, God forbid, but they come there for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
I know in that moment it's very difficult for us to see why and to see the bright side of it, if there are any. But if we remind ourselves that life it's not easy, we're gonna deal with problems, and the question we should ask ourselves, it's not why is this happening to me, is what is the lesson here.
Yeah.
If I have a money issue, then there's a lesson that I have not learned about money. If I have a relationship issue, then there is a lesson that I have about relationship. If I have a problem with people leaving and coming and leaving, high turnover, then there is a lesson that as an organization we have not learned about turnover and about
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hiring
Mm-hmm.
and promoting and empowering people. So
Wow.
I
Yeah.
know, I know that's deep as a closing thought, but it was just on my mind because sometimes we might just expect things to be easy, and we curse why they're not easy. Well, they don't.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be easy.
It's like embrace the problems because it's how you grow. And
Absolutely. That
speaking about, I want to say one more thing. Speaking about the younger version of yourself, I want to congratulate you and everybody here listening to us to know that there is a new member in Florin's family,
absolutely,
a small
absolutely.
boy, yes,
Yes.
called Adam. How is now to be a father, Florin?
Thank you so much, Madalina, for the congratulations. Well, it's I said that I don't know how other people have experienced this, but you walk into the hospital one person and you walk out of the hospital another one.
Aw,
So for now, that's the best way I can put it.
wow.
And on so many levels, and now different problems come on my table, right? now I now I'm learning diapers. Now I'm learning, the creams, the milk, and things that I didn't know that I need. But these challenges come to us in order for me to learn some things, right? So thank you so much for mentioning that and thinking about that. And yes, we are so excited and so happy to have our baby boy. And I'm gonna share more photos with him.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, yes.
I'm
Please check
multitasking.
out
I'm,
the
I'm
photo.
multitasking now.
Good. This is a challenge and a problem solving challenge for you. Good.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy for you as a family, and I'm pretty sure that he is a small leader at the moment. I'm pretty sure you and your wife will make sure that Adam is going to be a great person. So I'm so happy for you,
Thank
and
you.
everybody. We will see each other next time with the next episode, which is on priorities.
Absolutely. So,
Yes.
I can
So
share
yes.
something that has happened just right now, how our priorities have been realigned, and what to do about that. Because maybe as leaders, we deal with this kind of situations. So yeah, I look forward to that episode, Madalina.
Now you have a new input. Okay, good.
Absolutely. All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, everybody. See you
Thank you for
next
watching.
time.
Yes, see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.